What started like a rumor regarding the searchlight on the financial dealings in the Ogun State House of Assembly is turning to be a real fire on the mountain. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has filed an 11-count charge of conspiracy, forgery, and stealing against Speaker of the House of Assembly, Olakunle Oluomo, and 3 others. The EFCC said it intends to call 10 witnesses to testify and tender documents and exhibits in the suits filed but at the Federal High Court in Abeokuta. State House of Assembly, the Speaker allegedly siphoned how, let me use the exact language of the EFCC, that 2.6 billion naira, you know, developed wings, and they are looking for it.
They didn't carry it at once. So.
Okay.
It's small.
It's gradually.
Small. One was, there was a time they carried, let me read it. There was a time they took, the entire money is 2.75 billion naira. One is 900 million. Another one, and it's from 2019. Apparently they've been stealing their thing small by small. At another time, they took 375 million naira.
Is it the Assembly or Mr. Speaker? The office of the Speaker?
I think it's the office of the Speaker.
Okay.
It's the office of the Speaker. I'm reading it out for you to know. Another time, they took another 300 million naira. So, another time, they transferred 2 million naira. So, why I'm reading it out is to let us know that how is the auditing process of that assembly? What is the auditing process that could allow an individual in connivance with a few people to steal as much as 2.4 billion naira in 2 years?
In 2 years.
In 2 years. Now, even 1.1 million is part of this thing, which means that there is no auditing of that office. That's on one side. Then the other side is, if a speaker could steal 2.4 billion naira from a state house of assembly,
a state that is struggling to maintain satellite roads, maintain basic roads across the state, Mowe, Ibafo, Ofada, Lambe, Akute, Ota, Songo. If you go to Songo, it's like, Songo is like, it's, I don't know.
I don't even know how they do.
I don't know how to describe Songo.
Maybe that.
Okay,
because I've never
was
seen.
it last week?
I've never seen that Songo road.
Oh no! I went to AIT Road, Alagbado. So I had the bad luck of flying towards that Songo Ota road. It's as if they are at war.
No. In fact, it's
that's what we go through every day to come out.
It's as if there's war. As in, I can't describe the way that's Ota Express Road.
Even Ota, the one from the major express.
Yes, from Auto Gate.
Yes, from Auto Gate to that.
And that's, you know, that's why.
I see people that are living there. They are not human beings. That they are animals. Then a speaker
is now
can sit down to take 2.6 billion naira.
You know, that's why some of us keep asking, as she has said, the auditing process, how much is the ceiling that an individual, whether you are a speaker, whether you are a governor, whether you are president or whatever, is there no ceiling of how much you can sign out at a particular time, or is it that this thing is being
most of the time it's done in connivance with maybe the clerk of the house, the bureaucracy of the house?
Now, we now begin to see why we are so underdeveloped. I mean,
okay, what does it mean? 2.6 billion naira.
You know
what does it take?
You know what it can do.
As in, what do you want to do with it?
what do
In
they
2
do
years, 2.6 billion naira.
with it? Is part of what they do with it was exactly where they got him. Where did they get him? They got him at the international airport. He was traveling away. He was traveling out. In this time that everybody is talking about scarcity of foreign exchange and all that, he was going abroad. To do what?
Enjoying himself.
I mean, so at the end of the day, you find out that this 2-point-something billion, if you search him very well, he may not have up to $1 million naira left with him because they have spent that money recklessly with all abandon that nobody would query them and all that. There must be a check and balance system that will make sure.
Sorry, is he still the Speaker of that state?
He is, of course.
And his colleagues are seated there?
Well, that is the unfortunate aspect of it.
been impeached.
You see, the people that we are dealing with is, as Freddie Forsyth says, there should be honor among thieves. Maybe it is that honor that they are up, because they are all of them, they are all guilty. Maybe the chairman of one committee or the other is also guilty of that. So they won't see it as such. But in a sane House of Assembly, at this point, they should have called for him to either step aside or resign or impeach him. But in fact, I even heard that the House of Assembly has refused to sit because of his arrest. Why? I mean, it's like
some of them might be in this court.
Yes,
solidarity.
They are supporting him. Is like he's one of us. But must you support someone who has tarnished the image of your House of Assembly? Someone who, I mean, did they even ask him questions that, Mr. Speaker, sir, what did you do with this money? Now, that money perhaps is voted for the House. There must be some things there that are not functioning. Has he done?
Or the budget for the year.
Did they ask him, okay, the other day we complained that the speaker is not functioning. You said there was no money. So this is where the money is going. So until we begin to ask
like I know
questions.
of the operation, like Lagos State House of Assembly
Yes.
now, is like they have this financial autonomy. They're on the first line charge or whatever you call it. There's a Lagos State House of Assembly commission and everything. So they don't, it's not that the EXCO, they're not at the mercy of the executive to get their allocation. There's a statutory for the independence. That thing was signed under when Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State. I think that's his first House of Assembly achieved that. So ever since that time, most houses of assembly, you don't need to ask for small things from your governor. Maybe at the end of the year, there's a certain amount that
they have budgetary
allocation.
Yeah.
So maybe this is what is...
Actually, I can tell you for free that this is just peanuts. 2.4 billion naira that we are talking about.
Peanuts.
Is going to be maybe just
a tip of the iceberg.
Maybe sweet or biscuit money. And I can tell you that these people, they are rogues. And the ones supporting them, all of them are the same. This man is not spending this money alone. No.
Of course.
He's not spending it alone. That is why his mates and colleagues are also in solidarity with him, because it is not even possible for him to do it alone. And if I want to even tell you what is going on in my mind, I have a feeling that even all of these things happening is because some people are probably
not happy with him.
Not having enough of it.
Not having enough of it, and they are
That's
the
why
ones,
they have to...
they spill the bill.
That is what is occurring to me, because usually you don't even hear
because this is
things like
the
this.
non-practice. Okay,
Yes.
I have Suleiman from Abuja.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. You see the reason why ASU and the doctors in Nigeria are always in a incessant strike. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. You see the reason why our lecturers, ASU, and our doctors are always in incessant strike, telling government that they have money. And government said they don't have money. If an individual, a speaker of a house, can take such amount of money just one person in Ogun State, where they always not unable to pay their salary for their staff. I'm sure the lecturers there too are on strike. Tell me, how will ASU now go back to school to say they want to go and teach the students? And government is saying they don't have money, but their own person, the politician now, is taking this huge amount of money, and nothing is being done. At least Nigeria needs to rethink and do something better for ourselves.
Well, all right. Thank you. And, well, this is still in the realm of allegation. So maybe if he's indicted by this court of law, that is when we now say, go ahead to say he's a certified thief. But right now, he was allegedly
another word,
alleged to have
well, another word for
siphoned.
it is also that the EFCC also needs to do its groundwork and homework very well.
So that they don't bungle this.
Yes. Recently,
witnesses.
the former governor of Plateau State, who is now a senator, was absolved of all those charges. So the EFCC itself maybe should be slow in acting and act only when they have iron cast evidence. Because now, with all this now,
He was arrested, interrogated, and taken to court. So they have 11 count charge now. And from what we've seen,
EFC, as far as EFCC is concerned,
Yes.
it said it has 10 witnesses.
yes,
And it has named the witnesses.
they would have.
no problem with that, those ones. The issue is they must have iron cast evidence, because things like this have been happening. You just hear, oh, Mr. So and be arrested by EFCC, and they go to court. He runs the courts, and the court says no, you have no evidence. That was what happened in.
They don't have a
State.
case that's.
I mean,
Okay, let's see. It's just the beginning of the trial, and we promise to follow up with this and see the end of it, so that the people of Lambert, Akute, Alagbole, Ishashi, Ota, they can be vindicated that yes, the people that have stifled their growth with the responsibility. I don't even care. Maybe that is the legislative arm of government, but it's not just proper.